The Millrose Games is one of the most historic track and field meets on the indoor calendar, and this year's lineup was loaded. Julian Alfred proved that she is the only woman with a shot at the world record in the 60-meter dash, and Christian Coleman validated why he still has that record on the men's side. But the 60-meter hurdles for the men was perhaps the best field on the track. The only person missing was Grant Holloway, who now owns his own world record in that event. But Daniel Roberts, Trey Cunningham, and Cordell Tinch all showed up, and they are only the three other fastest Americans in the 110 hurdles from 2023. So to be honest, nobody really knew who was going to win the Millrose Games in the 60 hurdles, but we all assumed it was going to be one of those three men. So when a man who was wearing a generic uniform all the way in the outside lane crossed the line first, nobody knew what to think. Dylan Beard won the Millrose Games in the 60 hurdles, and he did it in convincing fashion. And if you don't know who he is, there's a legitimate reason, because he is not just an unattached runner, which means he has no professional sponsor at all. He was also pretty open that track and field is not his full-time gig at the moment. He actually works in the deli section at Walmart. It's actually way more common than you would think, because Olympian Lolo Jones used to work at Home Depot while she was training early in her career. The truth is that Dylan Beard is actually a really good hurdler who won a whole bunch of races at the NCAA level. The thing is, we just weren't paying attention because he never won any of those races in a conference like the SEC. His victory has been in process for a while now because he was mentored by one of America's greatest hurdlers of the past generation, Olympian David Oliver. And I also have to point out that his victory as an unattached deli worker from Walmart is proof of everything that's wrong with pro track and field. It announces him as one of the best hurdlers in America, even if nobody wants to acknowledge it. And considering that anything can happen clearly in that event, he might now have a legitimate shot to book his tickets for Paris this summer, because the lanes on the track don't care at all if you have a sponsorship or not. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comments section, because I try to read them all. Believe it or not, I recognize Dylan Beard's name from before the Millrose Games. I saw him on the NCAA leaderboards for Division I, ranked second overall in the 110 hurdles in 2023. And the real reason why he stood out is because he was running for Howard University, which is not known for winning anything at the national level in track and field. So trust me when I tell you that Dylan Beard is legit, but I also need you to trust me when I actually try to convey that he was never supposed to be this fast. His journey to win the Millrose Games was so ridiculous that I did have to keep fact-checking myself along the way. So pay attention, because this story is not normal, and I know that you heard it here first. At the high school level in Maryland, Dylan Beard would have rated as a 2-star recruit on SCArecruiting.com at the end of his junior year, but that was still good enough to win an independent school championship in the 110 hurdles. He came back to win that event again as a senior and bumped up his recruiting stock to a low 3-star recruit. Those performances were good enough to get him recruited into Division I at Wagner College in the NEC Conference. And no, I did not mean to say the SEC Conference. The NEC, Northeast Conference, is actually a thing in Division I. I'm pretty sure you haven't heard of Wagner, and you can't tell me where it is, and you definitely can't tell me their mascot. For the record, the answers are Staten Island, New York, and the Seahawks. The only reason why I know it so well is because I raced against their team when I was in college a bunch of times. They're the type of school that normally gets 2 and 3-star recruits, but the moment Dylan got there, he proved he was way better than people gave him credit for. As a freshman indoors, he won the 60-meter hurdles at the NEC Conference Championship meet, and that was the beginning of his dominance. He only failed to do it in the 110 hurdles outdoors because he got hurt, but he battled back to make the USA Junior final in the 110 hurdles. Remember, this was a 2-star recruit as a junior, competing at Wagner College. Of course, he won the conference again as a sophomore indoors, but that was the last time he ever competed in a Wagner uniform because he chose to leave Wagner and transfer to Hampton University in the Big South Conference. For the record, they're an HBCU that used to dominate the MEAC Conference before conference football realignment switched them out. And as a Hampton Pirate, he won the 60-meter hurdles indoors for the Big South Conference. 2 years in a row. He did underachieve in his only outdoor season there. Not necessarily on the clock, because he actually made the NCAA East Regional meet. He just failed to get the job done at the outdoor conference meet. By this point, his career had hit the year 2020, and we all know what happened back then. So he graduated from Hampton, but kept on running by becoming a graduate student at Howard University. They're probably the most well-known HBCU in the country, and they're actually Hampton's old rival in the MEAC Conference, which is where Howard still competes. But this is where the story really gets interesting, because Dylan clearly chose Howard because their head coach is David Oliver, the Olympian in the 110 hurdles. He knows a thing or two about getting a hurdler to the next level, and that is exactly what Dylan did. He ran for Howard in 2022, which I like to call the season that didn't count because nobody lost eligibility, and came back to run outdoors in 2023. And the entire time he was there, this is what he accomplished. Dylan Beard became the 110 hurdle champion for the MEAC Conference in back-to-back seasons. He qualified for the NCAA regionals in both seasons, but in 2023, he was actually the second fastest hurdler in all of D1 on the clock. The only reason he didn't make the NCAA championship meet is likely because he ran his worst race of the entire season at the time that he needed it the most. And all that brings us to what just happened, because Dylan Beard decided that he clearly had unfinished business on the track. He kept running unattached in 2024 and actually has run huge PRs in all of those races. If you check the results leading up to the Millrose Games, he had never lost a race, not even once. So when he stepped up to the line, the only athletes who didn't know how good he actually was were the ones who had never raced against him yet. Just for one moment, forget about the fact that he didn't have a sponsor, or that he works a regular day job like most unattached runners have to do, because bills don't pay themselves. If you've ever really seen him run, then you know that Dylan Beard is legit. He was one of the fastest hurdlers in all of college last year from Howard University and performed like a pro the moment that he became one. The only reason why we expected nothing from him is because we had not been paying attention. He knew that he could win and that he probably should. So it was only a surprise to everybody else. And that includes 3 of America's best hurdlers last year. I don't know what the future of Dylan Beard's career will look like, but I can tell you that the secret is out. Dylan Beard is a legitimate professional hurdler, even if nobody sponsors him to do it, who grinded his way up from being a 2-star recruit. He won multiple conference championships in Division I in 3 different conferences. And the only reason nobody sponsors him right now is because pro track and field in America is trash. But that is a topic I've already shared my thoughts on, so there's no reason to go back on it now. I've got a whole playlist on it. Dylan Beard can't fix the system by himself, but he certainly can embarrass the mess out of it. So now, everyone knows that he is a real competitor in any hurdle race that he is in from here on out. There's only 3 Olympic spots available in the 110 hurdles for Team USA, and really only 4 men that anybody's betting on to get them. But they will now have to hold off Dylan in order to keep them, considering that they failed to do it at the Millrose Games. The chances of Dylan Beard getting a sponsorship, even if Walmart has to do it themselves, is looking pretty good about now. SCA track and field gear is here. Fast is a lifestyle, and what you wear should reflect that. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it's always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.